Welcome to the Way to Go podcast. I'm Bill McMinn. Along with me is Eric Barfell, and I appreciate you being here. He's already helpful to me because he helped me to put the clock on right because I punched the number and it didn't do one stinking thing. And then we'll be off on our times, Eric, and that would be good. That would not be good.
I carry Bill's pen for him.
Dude. Oh, no, stop it.
Hit the timer.
Well, we're talking about jealousy today, actually, because a couple weeks ago we were doing a show together and you had mentioned that social media, stuff like that, people kind of get jealous of other people in this perfect world, in this kind of facade or image that everyone else's life's perfect, but my life, people can get jealous. So causes of jealousy, social media being one of them.
Oh, being this day and age, probably one of the biggest ones because people, that's the highlight reel. No one rarely posts, like, depending on the social media, there's different outlets for different things. Instagram specifically, all great stuff. Sweet locations that they've been to, travel experiences they've had, new gadgets and gizmos and toys, and it's sweet. People are very good looking on Instagram. Like all these filters, like they look flawless. I'm going to tell you right now.
Right.
Nice and muscular, tone, like just good looking.
Right.
Facebook people just kind of like air out their complaints, and I'm not on it anymore because that's literally all I saw for a long time. So I removed myself from that. But that's what I see. Just like it's the highlight reel. The whole family's together. They're happy. They're smiling. The dog is smiling. It's like, well, I don't have that in my house this holiday. Right. I don't have this sitting in my driveway. This guy is over here like living it up. It looks sweet. I don't have this kind of stuff. And I think that's where a lot of jealousy, again, I speak from the perspective of young people. Jealousy is huge. Wanting what other people have, I'm looking at jealousy like that, is huge through social media.
Oh, I think that people certainly look at people's lives and everything looks perfect and you think your life isn't. You have to realize everyone has problems. I've talked to people that have issues, and sometimes when a person has a problem, they think they're the only person in the world that has a problem. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize that, yes, a person may have success and maybe they have some things different than you have. You're single, you want to be married. They're married, so they have the whole world. They're single, so they don't. Doesn't mean married people don't have problems. Married people have their own set of problems. And then if you don't have kids, you might be jealous of those who do, but parents with kids have their own set of problems. So I think that you got to realize that everyone's got issues and problems, no matter how shiny they might put that image out there. And of course, we're going to, I'm a photographer, so I'm going to go through a lot of different photos to find the photo I like the best. And I'm only going to put the best up. Right. I'm not here to bore you.
Sure.
Discontentment, I think, is a cause of jealousy. I think feeling inadequate is a cause of jealousy. Well, I wish I was better at something. I wish I was a better athlete, or I was a better speaker. It could be.
Yeah.
Wish I was a better.
It's not
whatever.
always jealous. Like I wish
Better
I
cyclist.
had what you have, but I wish my situation, my body, my brain was that much better, faster, stronger. Could do, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
just
I do.
A severe like discontentment about yourself and your own situation.
Well, since you bring that up, when I was in seminary is where I learned this. I was taking counseling classes, and they were talking about your self-image and how that is basically based on your performance over your ideals. So if you have ideals for yourself that I have to be a Division I athlete and you're not even a high school starter, obviously your self-image is going to be pretty poor. And there were days where I'm like, well, I wish I was better at this. I wish I was better at that. How come I can't be as good at this? Or, Mark, he does a great job, our producer, at singing and playing a guitar. I can't do that. There might be a day when I would look at that and say, how come I can't do that like he can? Or, you're a good fast cyclist. I would never be able to keep up with you. And I could look at that and say, how come I can't keep up with him? He's so much better than I am. But what I learned through the class was God made you for a purpose. And so you don't have to accept the ideals you made up for your arbitrary ideals you made up for yourself. What does God expect of you? And I started to realize, God expects me to be a speaker and a teacher because that's what he wired me to be. And I don't have to be, a great athlete. I don't have to be anything else. I just have to be what he made me to be and be content with that. And another one, people put stuff on you too, expectations on you, and you take their ideals. So I think that's kind of going along a little bit what we're talking about jealousy of just, if you have that self-image that I'm jealous I can't be here, because you've set up this ideal that you have to be like them.
Not being able to meet up to a standard you put on yourself, parents put on kids about like an educational, like you have to get a certain GPA kind of thing. And it's like, some people are not gifted academically. That sure as heck was not me.
Right.
If like success is defined as like your GPA, see ya. Like,
right.
I don't stand a chance.
Right.
But yeah, no, a lot of things people that are put on them.
Right.
But nonetheless, you should be doing your best.
Right.
Regardless.
Agreed.
And then when you get older, discover your talents, your gifts, your abilities, and like use that for the glory of the Lord, as He's the one who gave it to you.
Right.
But yeah, no, feeling inadequate, feeling like you don't measure up, whether it's like your own talents and abilities and it's not what someone else has, that's a pretty real feeling, especially like when I was young. Is like, I don't really know what my calling is. I don't know what I'm supposed to, like, I went into college not even knowing.
Right.
I was like, all these people are here like on a mission to like get this degree. I'm just like hanging out, chilling. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing here because I hadn't like received my calling yet, kind of thing. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Right. And that was a tough thing. Right. And it got worse once I got my calling. Right. I was like, everyone's like way better than me. Right. So why am I here? You know,
well, you're doing a great job, and we appreciate that. I can tell you that.
Thanks.
One thing I would say, too, when it comes to jealousy is just being content with what you have, because 1 Timothy 6:6 says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. And so I look at that and say, you know, I can focus on God and having a relationship with God, seeking God, praying to God. Everyone can have as much of God as anyone else. It's like when it comes to like a house, you're limited by your finances. It comes to the kind of car you have, you're limited by your finances. There is zero that limits you in your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Zero.
True.
You can absolutely have a relationship with God. You can have a walk with God as close as an Abraham if you want to. It's up to you. And that's one thing I love about God. And so when he says godliness with contentment is great gain, yeah, because I can be content just knowing, hey, you know, I'm where God wants me to be. I can pray to him. I got him on my, he's got my back. I'm good.
Can't read. You can listen to the Bible on the app.
Right.
You can still walk with the Lord. You can still talk with God and through prayer and fasting. And, you know, you can still seek the Lord.
Right. And we have treasures in heaven too. You know, this earth isn't all we have. Sometimes we look at this earth and say, well, that's it. But the Bible also talks about heaven. The Bible talks about rewards in heaven, stock in heaven. And so that as we do the right thing here, you know, when we die, we expect that there's going to be more there. So, I mean, my life isn't just about everything here. And I think that if you just look at, I'm here now and this is all I have and I got to grab as much as I can, yeah, that could cause some discontentment and some stress in your life. I think spending time wishing for what you don't have is only going to cause you stress. Why should I worry about what I don't have? Why don't I just appreciate what I do have? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just appreciate it.
That is tough because sometimes the discontentment we experience is like what you say all the time, like the grass is always greener on the other side. Right. There's always someone who has more or different or better and it's not always just like material items either. Some like when I was younger, like I hated that I had glasses. Was I kind of jealous that like I couldn't see as good and I had to wear these doofy glasses and like all the other kids in my class didn't have glasses? Yeah, I hated that. I was pretty like insecure about it too, actually. But now it's like, I don't know, I'm worried about other things, I suppose. Right. People know me as someone who has glasses, so it's kind of like part of me at this point.
Exactly. Well, I think that because you've come to a resolution in your mind about it. You're not wrestling with it anymore because you've come resolved to accept how God made you. Yeah. Therefore, you're more at peace. And this is where people are not going to have contentment and perhaps continuing jealousy when they have not come to that resolution in their mind that it's okay. I'm made for the reason for me being here is from God, and I'm okay with that. You know, I used to not like it. I thought I was too skinny. I thought I was too, you know, you can go on and on and on and on, especially, you know, you work with teens and I'm sure there are people that feel they're too heavy. They're too thin. They're not good enough. They don't measure up. I remember my dad's friend telling Bill, you're going to be okay. You're going to fill out someday. I was that way too. You know, don't worry about it. But man, it bothered me. It just pestered me. And again, just learning to be content and not pining away constantly for what you don't have. Not envying, obviously, would be part of jealousy because it says in Exodus 20:17, do not covet your neighbor's house or their wife or their servants or their possessions, anything that belongs to them. Don't covet it. And I think about the problems that coveting will lead to. Like if you are literally, I just have to have what they have, and you start thinking about this every day, that's just not good. Right?
And that's where it's like, so let's say you do go out and get it, whatever it is. there's still another one, a nicer one.
Right.
Next year, they're still going to bring out the new one. You know, I think about people who like really lust after like the latest, greatest tech. 6, 8, 12 months later, they're going to have a brand new one.
Right.
That's totally that much bigger, better, faster. What, you know what I'm saying? And it's truly never ending.
Right.
That's where it's almost like scary in a sense, because it is never ending. There's always going to be a different one, a better one, whatever it might be. And some of the, I don't know, you just have to be content in what you do have, what God has given you, internally and externally as well. Again, like, so some of the stuff we talk about are physical things like outside the body,
right.
Whereas others is like how we're made,
right.
Our own talents,
and
abilities,
what your ability to remember things.
Do.
Some people can hear a name one time and remember it. I need at least 3 times. Other people might never remember it.
Yeah,
so it's like, forget it. I'm never going to remember your name. Wear a name tag every time you see me. But I think of jealousy and how dangerous it was in the Bible, where David kills Goliath. A great victory for the entire nation, a great victory for that army. One young man earned it, and that was David. But Saul was the king. And when Saul heard the song that he killed thousands and David 10,000, he was jealous, because they were giving David more credit than him. And instead of being happy that it happened, he got jealous because he didn't think enough credit was going to him. And I think sometimes that's what leads to jealousy. It would be this, Eric, pride. I think it's just your own human pride sometimes that lends itself to jealousy. Because of your pride, you're jealous somebody else is getting credit instead of being happy for them.
Sure.
Instead of saying, you know what, I'm just happy for you because I'm not going to envy you. I'm just happy for you.
Yeah.
And being willing to share credit. And I think it takes time and maturity to be able to do that, with other people, share the spotlight. Don't take credit. Don't ever take credit. Give credit. And you'll be a happier person when you don't have to hog it. Saul, unfortunately, in his jealousy, became an extremely unhappy person because he was having a hard time living knowing David was living. Because he wanted David dead because he was that jealousy. And so he put himself on something that was totally counter to what God wanted, and it brought him nothing but pain. We just can't be that way. Like, we can't let our envy lead us, and our own pride and arrogance lead us to that point where I'm so jealous that they have something. I'm so jealous they get more credit. I'm so jealous they're better. Why not just be happy for them?
Yeah.
And say, no, that's how God made them, and they're better. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and finding contentment is not like, okay, I accept this situation, but like, not only, and because I accept this situation and I'm okay with it, I'm less jealous, my situation will improve. Like, sometimes your situation is just the pits, and you can still be happy for other people.
And when you can do something about it. But we're talking about stuff we can't control too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, God's not always going to change your situation.
Right.
But you can still be content in that situation because God is still God. Right.
Well, you look at Saul too. I mean, in some ways, he created the scenario in which David was allowed to thrive because he didn't take on the giant. And because he didn't do something that needed to be done, someone else did it. And that's a situation really we need to avoid. If there's something we should be, okay, I'll take my wife. My wife should be complimented as a woman. If I don't do it and somebody else does, why am I going to be jealous of that? I'm the one that opened that vacancy. Yeah. I'm the one that opened that up because I'm not giving compliments, right?
Sure.
I'm not doing my job. And so if there's a vacuum that you've left in your area, something needs to be done, someone jumps in there and starts doing it because you were doing nothing. Why in the world would you be jealous of that? Right? Because you should be, of course, someone complimenting your wife. Yeah, please be jealous. But if it's an area of ministry or it's an area of service, area in the community, but you weren't doing anything, you're like Saul. You're sitting back there seeing a giant come out and taunt. You see a problem. You're seeing the problem. You don't do anything about it. Well, David went and did something about it. So why should I be jealous? I wasn't doing anything. He's the one that went and did something. So if somebody fills in a vacuum that you left, an empty spot you left in this world, and they went and filled that spot that you should have been doing in the first place, I don't think you should be jealous about that. You should be looking at yourself and saying, why didn't I go face that giant? Why didn't I tackle that problem? Yeah. Why didn't I do something about it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You know, did you ever face like big time jealousy in your life ever?
And I don't remember. I think that's an excellent question. I mean, discontentment wise, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think that when I was younger and in ministry and you'd go to big pastors you and you see what they're doing, you hear these guys sitting around the tables talking about how big their church is and how big their staff is. And you're like, I'm by myself and there's 150 people who go there and these guys have hundreds. And yeah, I think there was times where I wished I could have that. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I would say the same thing for myself. There's definitely been times of discontentment.
Right.
Up until probably this summer, I met a guy who shares my hobby of cycling, and he bought like that much nicer of a bike than me. He bought like some sweet upgrades, some like nice like carbon rims and everything. I was like, I want to keep up with him.
Right.
And I like that was the first time I had to like check myself
Right.
that I can remember that I was like, I actually really want what this guy has right now.
You know what I think though too? There are times where I think that one of the cures for me was when I was at the pastors' conference in Chicago. I felt God broke me one night of just, you're prideful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your issue. Like the reason you're discontent is because of your own pride. Because you could still be happy. And I think that I don't know that Eagleville really flourished until I could get past that point of myself. Mm-hmm. And get to that point where I'm okay with where I'm at. I'm okay where God put me. And we've thrived. I mean, the church has thrived. I take there's no pride for me in it. You know, I mean, it's a team effort and we're all part of it and everyone does their various jobs. I just do my thing and you guys all do your thing, but you can't let pride get in. I think that pride is a huge destroyer of relationships. I think it's a huge kind of ruiner of service and opportunities because you get to start thinking you're better than you are or you're too good for your situation, and God's got to break in and humble you of that. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes the best thing that can happen to people is get knocked down a block or two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Because that pride is only going to, God says, I will humble the prideful. I will exalt the humble. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be the humble that God exalted than that guy who put himself up there that God had to knock down a few, right?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Pegs.
I totally.
So I hope that helps you, though. I mean, I hope that helps it kind of explain it because, man, you really made me think about that, and I hadn't thought about that before the show. Just this moment, it kind of came to me. But I think loving others too. In 1 Corinthians 13:4, love is patient, love is kind, love doesn't envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. And I think there are two things, Eric, because you and I were talking about this earlier. The not envy is part of love, but not boasting. Okay, you're not supposed to envy, but I'm not supposed to boast.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You wouldn't have to envy if I wasn't boasting.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And I think sometimes people, especially in social media, do it to point it back to them.
Right.
And that's where like things get pretty tricky. That's like the boastful part. Whereas we're supposed to use our gifts, use what God has given us to build up the kingdom of God for the benefit of the body of Christ. Right. And social media is to puff yourself up.
Can be. I don't think it always is.
Well, people post about themselves.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you post selfies every other day, yeah, I would say that, that gets to be a problem because selfies are looking at me. But I think too, sharing is part of it too. Like I think sharing your life in social media, letting your family know what you're doing, or for me, like showing stuff out west that a lot of people haven't had a chance to see yet. I never knew what it looked like. I wasn't sure what I was going through. Put those albums out there. Let people see it. Share it. That's the way that I look at it. Share something cool you see. Share a sunset. Share if you saw, a coyote out in your backyard. To me, I don't mind sharing that kind of stuff, or gardens that are going well, or flowers, because there's beauty. Man, it's just God's beauties everywhere. Why wouldn't we want to share it, right? So I think that kind of stuff, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Or people have somebody got married. Yeah. Someone's having a birthday party. Yeah, sure. Put it on. I love seeing that stuff. I think there's not enough positive stuff. I think there's too much negativity, actually, to be honest with you. So I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind seeing positive stuff. Someone went out and if you did a bike ride and you have a picture of your 4 buddies and you got done doing a 100-mile bike ride, I would have no problem with that being on social media because I would think that was cool. I would be, again, because I'm not jealous, I'd be like, man, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys did that. And I like to see it. Like, I love people sending me pics. I ask for it all the time. Someone's like, hey, I'm here, I'm there. I'm like, send me a pic. Why? Because I want to see it too. Mm-hmm. I want to see it. So if you see something cool, never think I'm not going to puff myself up. I want to see it because you're seeing something I didn't get to see. And I would love to see it. And technology gives us that opportunity. But it can spring jealousy. So you got to evaluate your own heart. Why am I doing this? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just the motive behind it as well, because are you boasting or is this going to cause someone to be envious?
Well, I don't think I can worry about that because
when I was in high school, people
anything
would
you
post,
do can cause somebody to envy.
People would post everything they got for Christmas. It was like, are you kidding me right now?
I would never let my kids post, but my kids were not allowed to post anything they got for Christmas ever. That was a no-no. Like, we never posted pictures of Christmas, but I should be able to allow to post a picture of my family for my own timeline without someone, well, I'm jealousy as a family. I can't help that. Why aren't you happy for me? If you're not happy for me, that's your issue, not my issue. And this is what it's saying. Love doesn't envy. And what I've found, this is the point I've come to in life. I'm not saying that I was always there. This is the point that I've come to in life. It's this. I'm going to be happy for you. Mark, our producer, something great happens for him. Let's say if somebody gives Mark a Mercedes-Benz car that's 2 years old and just gives it to him. Or a BMW.
Dude, I'm jealous.
You know, or a Lexus SUV. You know what? Am I going to be jealous? Yes, Mark, I hate you. No, I'm going to be, just kidding, buddy. I'm happy for you, man. I mean, somebody actually put a nice post about him on for Pastor Appreciation, and they put a nice post about Mark and how much Mark, they appreciate Mark. And I thought they got the wrong pastor's name in there. But no, to be honest with you, I was so happy for Mark. Because I look at that, I'm like, that's great, man. That is so cool. I'm so glad that guy appreciates him. Like, I've come to the point in my life, I'm not jealous about that kind of stuff. I think it's great. If someone says something great about you, about him, about the church, about Steve, about Adam, Becky, whoever, I'm just happy for them. You know, if somebody comes and walks over and gives you $10,000, I'm going to be like, that's awesome. After I get over the jealousy, then I'm going to say, it's awesome. No, I'm just kind of kidding around. But if you can't be happy for other people, there's a hard issue you got to be praying and working on. Because I want to be happy for the success of others. I want to be thrilled if God does something great for them, not be jealous. Because how does jealousy make my life better? If they didn't have it, doesn't mean I would have it.
Sure.
They go on a trip, they have something cool happens to them, they get a promotion, they get whatever, they win the lottery. Wasn't going to happen to me, so why can't I be happy for you? And so that's where it is. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It's not proud. So a great passage. But
sometimes those opportunities just will never come for some people. The opportunity to travel and near and far, whatever. But, you know, the Bible says, my grace is sufficient for you.
Right. And young people,
that is enough.
Realize this. Eric's not going to do what a guy 30 years older is able to do, because the 30-year-older guy couldn't do it at the 28-year-old guy either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just how it is. It's true. Like, sometimes
you lost me on that one.
Sometimes younger people want what older people have now. Like, I think sometimes like there's a younger person and they're jealous of what the older person has, but they don't realize, but when they were your age, they were right where you are.
Right.
I think sometimes kids look at their parents and want what their parents have right now. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like sometimes you have to look at apples and oranges and realize, no, somebody's been out there for a long time. Their kids have already grown up. They don't have kids to feed every week. They're going to have a little more discretionary cash than somebody who's not in that position. So I think we have to evaluate it based on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all things are, I guess, in perspective, but here it is. Be content with what you have and don't envy and love others. And if you would do that, you know, nix any pride you see, you're going to be a long way towards battling jealousy. Just be happy for other people. We appreciate you tuning in and listening to the show. You all have a great and an awesome week.